Welcome to Localite, everybody. With me today is a gentleman from the organization Ducks Unlimited, and Ducks Unlimited is the global leader in wetland and waterfowl conservation, and he's the district chairman for the Columbia Basin area of Oregon, and he is here to tell us all about Ducks Unlimited and what their mission is and all the things that they do. So, Rich, appreciate you coming on. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nice to be here.
Well, let's start off with, real briefly, just give us an overview of what Ducks Unlimited is all about.
Okay, it's an organization actually composed of a large volunteer contingency, obviously, with some paid staff. And basically, the organization looks at the waterfowl from Canada through the United States into Mexico and finds out where we need to be working. That's the basic bottom line. And the goal is obviously to preserve wetlands and waterfowl for now and for the future. So that's the overall general goal of it. Ducks Unlimited has been around since 1937 when the organization was established. It was established during the Dust Bowl time, which is kind of an interesting time. You think about trying to preserve wetlands, but there was a group of basically hunters back then that were looking at the Dust Bowl and all the wetlands drying up and the water going away, and the duck populations were declining through a combination of things, through market hunting and some other things going on at the same time, that they decided that we need to do something about preserving this. If we want future wetlands and waterfowl, we need to do something about it. So that's how the organization got started, and it progressed from then up until currently now. And we basically gather through banquets and through our fundraising activities money to help put wetland projects back on the ground, and whatever means that means. So Ducks Unlimited is a very large organization, like I said, in the United States, and we have chapters, have different segments of Ducks Unlimited in Canada. There's Ducks Unlimited Canada and Ducks Unlimited Mexico organizations that are supporting the waterfowl from where they nest to where they winter and back again.
All right. Well, now, wetlands and conservation, obviously you guys are the global leader in that area, and BP actually tapped you guys recently for the oil spill in the Gulf. What involvement did you have there? What kind of things did you guys help them with?
Basically, once the oil spill happened, Ducks Unlimited put an organization together to help with the oil spill, basically, and BP being part of that organization or part of that group. But also we have the federal governments and all the states impacted by the oil spill, and all of the wetland plans they have in place already for those areas, and obviously the wetlands that were already established there, to try to prioritize where things need to happen and what needs to happen on the ground where. And Ducks Unlimited has on their national website has a current, if you want to find out, go to www.ducks.org, and at any time they'll tell you what's happening in the Gulf right now with the oil spill. So
okay, where are things at right now?
Basically, the things are wrapping up, but they're still in the process of cleaning up what's the impacts of the oil, and also looking for the future. They're trying to put some where they need to do some research, where they need to find out what wetlands may be impacted, and how they're going to be impacted, and what birds may be impacted, because they know which birds are going to come migrate through there and at the time they're going to come through. So they're looking at putting a package together of what's going to happen next, basically, and what the steps are for the future for that area. And they'll be there as long as it takes.
Well, what about these wetlands? I mean, here, let's move it back right to the gorge. Okay. Where are these locations in the gorge?
Okay, in the gorge, where we've had some more recent projects, we had one that was just completed at Lad Canyon, which is out of La Grande, within the last 5+ years. And that one was a combination of improving the Lad Marsh itself. They needed some major levee changes and water control devices and things like that to help that marsh have water at the appropriate times of the year when the waterfowl will be using it. And it was an interesting partnership because we had the State of Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, which actually owns that area, with Ducks Unlimited, and also with the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation as a partner in that particular project. And Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation is an unusual partner, you would think, with a wetland thing, but that happens to be where a big chunk of their elk herd winters in the wintertime is on that part of that wetland area. So they were key in that partnership also.
Okay.
We have some other projects we've done. We did I did a project up at Umatilla Wildlife Refuge, National Wildlife Refuge out of Boardman, and that one has been done in the last 10 years or so. And they did another levee and water management type control scenario there, that they've improved the water controls there. And also we had projects in the Columbia River, which we've happened for quite a while. The Columbia River has been really a prime area for the Ducks Unlimited to go to because of the emphasis with wetlands, obviously, and also with the salmon issue that's going on. It's been a win-win situation for both the salmon and the wetlands on the Columbia Basin estuaries. And what's happening there is basically the areas are being, some of the wetlands that were drained for agriculture have been put back into wetland production again. So Ducks Unlimited has been key in that. And the plus side for that from the salmon issue is that migratory salmon, specifically coho salmon, the juveniles like to feed in some of those wetland areas, and they get their insects and stuff. So it's been a win-win situation. So it's helping the waterfowl and also helping the salmon issue out.
Okay. And then you recently did a project also at Sauvie's Island.
We did a project
at Sauvie's.
We did a project at Sauvie's Island, which was really, really interesting. I got to hunt this particular unit. It's called Hunt Unit on Sauvie's Island, and I hunted that when I was a kid back in the 60s and 70s. And that unit over the years was established. It was made for waterfowl, and it was a fairly good hunting unit. And the state of Oregon planted corn every year there, and then flooded the corn, and it was a typical what we would duck hunters think is a nice, good place to hunt. Well, what happened, Ducks Unlimited got involved here in the last 10 years and just completed this project actually about two years ago on this particular unit. And it's been a win-win situation for the state of Oregon and the duck hunters, because they've come back in, instead of having to plant corn every year, they've gone back to the native marsh vegetation to come back in there. And what was really intriguing about that is the fact that after 50, 60 years of planting corn and very little native vegetation being there, after 50 years, Ducks Unlimited came back in and got the flood control or the water control devices in place and let Mother Nature take its course. And within 2 years, the native vegetation came back, and in reality, it's improved the duck hunting in that particular spot. The birds per person per day that hunters harvested in that area have increased since they've done that over the old way. So It costs less for the state of Oregon to manage it now, and the duck hunters are boning the benefit of what Ducks Unlimited.
So a win-win there.
A win-win situation.
Well, awesome. Well, we're going to keep talking about this. We're going to take a quick break. You guys stay with us. We'll be right back with more of Ducks Unlimited and Rich Thurman. Be right back.